Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
It's a look at where we've been and where we are headed. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi, and tonight San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria will deliver his third State of the City address, and housing advocates are hoping that the mayor will announce some major action. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer is live downtown with what we can expect. Jacob?
That's right. Mayor Todd Gloria is set to take the stage here at San Diego Civic Theatre around 6:30 in what will be the first State of the City address in person since 2020. He'll address his top priorities in 2023 and beyond. The mayor's office says those include housing affordability and homelessness, infrastructure and public safety, and that might sound familiar. Gloria talked about the same issues last year. We talked with Martha Sullivan of the San Diego Housing Emergency Alliance about what she hopes to hear from him tonight.
A true emergency response to a housing disaster, which is just as bad as if we'd had an earthquake or a tsunami.
She's organizing an alternative State of the City speech ahead of the mayor's address. Last year, San Diego set records for the number of people experiencing homelessness in downtown San Diego and the number of deaths from that same population. Maya?
Well, Jacob, if the mayor's priorities are similar to last year, then what kind of progress has actually been made so far?
Gloria's administration has struggled to reduce the number of people experiencing homelessness and living on the streets. That's despite increasing shelter beds, expanding homeless outreach programs, and working towards making it easier to build affordable housing. Back to you, Maya.
Well, thank you so much for that report, Jacob. And again, tonight's State of the City address starts at 6:30, and you can stream it live on our website, kpbs.org. And we will have a complete wrap-up tomorrow on Morning Edition and reaction on Evening Edition. A local nonprofit is hoping to make a dent in San Diego's homeless problem this year. KPBS reporter Claire Strong went to find out more.
We're trying to come up with solutions that aren't coming for 10, 15, 25 years. You cannot build your way out of this.
And among the solutions being put forward by the Lucky Duck Foundation, 2 large tents in a parking lot across from Balboa Park. Each structure would house around 250 people, similar to others across the city. They'd be aimed at providing shelter for 2 specific groups: younger adults between 18 and 25, many of whom have aged out of the foster care system, and the elderly.
We have health care for them. We have mental health care for them. We have people getting them birth certificates that they lose, driver's license if they can get one, mail facilities so they can get job applications. There's a lot of services that go with it, including food, meal services, anything that we can do to help them go to the next step.
The number of people without a home in downtown San Diego is now worse than ever. Around 1,800 were living on sidewalks or in vehicles during December. In addition to building tents, the Lucky Duck Foundation wants to pay people to collect trash at Balboa Park. Across town, and 24-year-old Jack is thankful his modest tent has held up against the recent heavy rain. He's one of those young adults that Lucky Duck hopes to reach with their new project idea. Jack aged out of the foster care system and found himself on the streets.
It's a good idea, it's for sure a good idea, because there's a lot of people out here that have nothing, that come out here and don't know where to go. They just sleep on the corner and, sleep on the floor. So for those people, for sure, that would be a good opportunity for them, because they just sleep on the floor either way.
Reducing homeless-related violent crime is also something Lucky Duck wants to see tackled by local government agencies in 2023. But as with all things homeless-related, it'll take more than the efforts of one charity to solve this ever-increasing issue. Claire Strong, KPBS News.
California is bracing for some more rain, leaving little time to recover from a series of storms that have battered parts of the state. At least 17 people have died, and we haven't seen the last of the severe weather. Mike Valerio has the latest.
A brief pause in the rain, giving some Californians a chance to dig themselves out of the mud.
We're just trying to make it a safe walkway,
while bracing for the next round.
We're working hard on the cleanup, but also to get ready for more rain.
This week's deadly storm brought raging waters, damaging mudslides, and dangerous sinkholes.
Oh, God.
It's one in a series of severe weather events expected to impact the Golden State.
It's been these cycles over and over again. It's really kind of wearing on the community. We're probably a little over halfway done at this point, so we're not out of the woods yet. We have another week or so to go.
Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis fears the state is reaching a breaking point.
The drainage system just can't handle any more water. We can't get the water out of the neighborhoods quickly enough.
The heaviest rain over the next 7 days is expected in Northern California. The National Weather Service forecasting an additional 5 to 10 inches with localized higher amounts. As cleanup continues across the state, anxiety about what comes next is rising.
the back-to-back and the heavy rains, the nonstop. It'd be nice if we could have like a few days in between.
In Montecito, California, Mike Valerio, KPBS News.
Chaos at airports across the country after an overnight FAA system outage. Thousands of flights were delayed, including some here in San Diego. Isabel Rosales has more on the latest travel nightmare.
Flights once again in the air after the system the FAA uses to provide pilots with pre-flight safety notices failed overnight, causing the agency to institute a nationwide ground stop briefly Wednesday morning. More than 8,000 flights within, into, or out of the U.S. delayed as of Wednesday afternoon, and more than 1,000 were canceled. The order was lifted shortly before 9 a.m. Wednesday once the system was restored, but not before wreaking havoc on travelers' itineraries.
It's supposed to be like 11 or 12 when we landed. Now it's going to be 2, and we're missing the first week for a funeral.
Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the notice-to-air mission system is critical.
This is a standardized, uniform way for getting important safety messages out to airports, aircraft, and airlines. For example, if a runway is closed or maybe a navigation beacon is out, something that a pilot would need to know for safety reasons. Very important, of course, for that information to be flowing efficiently.
Though failures have been rare, Buttigieg says the Department of Transportation is launching an investigation into the system's possible vulnerabilities.
That broader question is a real one. What are the redundancies? What are the backups? What are the means to make sure that a disruption like this does not happen?
For those flying Wednesday, officials say delays are likely to continue throughout the day as airlines work to recover from the backlog. In Washington, Isabel Rosales, KPBS News.
And even though that flights are back in the air, that system outage had a ripple effect across the country, including right here in San Diego. And it also brought up bad memories of the chaos during the holiday season when Southwest Airlines canceled nearly all of its flights.
When everyone was waiting in line here and I just walked in, I was like, no, not again. I hope this isn't happening. I love Southwest. I know a lot of stuff happened over Christmas and my family was affected. I'm just kind of glad it's not just them this time. It's everyone.
And the flight tracking website FlightAware shows there were 202 delays at San Diego International Airport today and 35 canceled flights. Shoppers are shelling out more for eggs, and that's if you can even find them in stock. KPBS reporter Melissa May went to a local grocery store to get an update on the shortage.
This is the price of a dozen jumbo eggs at Windmill Farms in Del Cerro today.
That's absolutely ridiculous, the price of eggs.
It is getting a little bit concerning.
I've never seen eggs this much. They're like almost $1 an egg.
Josh Aftreth is the dairy manager at Windmill Farms.
The eggs right now are hard to get. A lot of the companies that I order from, they're not coming in. And the companies that I am getting it from, the price has gone way up compared to what they used to be.
Aftreth spoke with the veterinarians at the Ebenheiser Egg Ranch in Ramona and says the bird flu has really impacted the egg supply.
It said 38 million egg-laying chickens have died. So, and then there's a bunch of other birds too. But it gets hard to contain because I guess migratory birds are and transmitting it.
For some types of eggs, the price has more than doubled.
It's hard to balance and have eggs on the shelf. The other thing too is like with the price of the eggs, they're slowing a lot down in sales. So you can't order too much on those because then you're going to be having them code out on you, and that throwing away eggs is nobody wants that.
Locals like Rodney Duff have had a hard time finding eggs.
I just can't find them. I went to Costco. They don't have them anymore, so I don't know what's going on.
And when Duff finally found eggs, the price of them became a concern.
It's made us tighten up and watch our budget. And absolutely, we have to be aware of every dime, every nickel.
So he's taking matters into his own hands.
I'm going to get some chickens. When my kids were little, we used to have chickens. We used to have, fresh eggs every morning. So I'm like, I'm going to go back to that. Why not?
Nissa Naviello bought some locally produced eggs for a little more than $7, but has this suggestion.
Give the public some alternatives. That would be helpful. So we don't have a mad rush to the grocery store and somebody buys out all the eggs.
Melissa May, KPBS News.
The Consumer Product Safety Commissioner may have spoken too soon on the gas stoves ban that he told you about. Today, the White House confirmed President Biden does not support such a ban. However, the commission might seek to restrict emissions on stoves. Pollutants from gas stoves have been linked to asthma and other respiratory conditions. A new COVID subvariant that's sweeping across the Northeast is slowly gaining a foothold in San Diego, and it has quite the complex name, XBB.1.5. The strain appears to be more contagious, and the latest data shows it makes up just under 10% of COVID infections in San Diego. Dr. Eric Topol from the Scripps Translational Institute believes it will become the dominant strain, and people shouldn't let their guard down.
The virus has a myriad of ways to hurt us, and we keep trying to ignore it. It's never going to get tired. It's indefatigable, whereas us humans easily, after 3 years of this, have had enough, obviously, and are very tired of it. But there's no time to let down.
And Topol says that this variant is a type we haven't seen before and could lead to reinfections. He says there isn't data to support if it's more or less severe than prior strains. Those issues are leading to concerns about a potential winter surge across the country. Mandy Gaither has more.
In the U.S., flu season still in full swing, but as rates for this virus trend down, the number of COVID-19 cases is ticking up.
This is a new emerging subvariant, and it has risen very quickly across the country.
1 in 5 Americans now live in a county the CDC considers to have a high community level of COVID-19, but only about 15% of those eligible for an updated booster have gotten it, and about 20% of people in the U.S. are completely unvaccinated against COVID-19.
People who have gotten that updated bivalent booster, all the evidence so far suggests that they're still protected against even this XBB.1.5.
That Omicron subvariant has quickly taken hold in the Northeast, and health experts are watching to see if it will spread to other parts of the country too. With at-home rapid tests and cases not being reported, the exact COVID-19 burden on the U.S. is unclear. However, some data suggests viral levels in wastewater are increasing. Hospitalization numbers have now surpassed last summer's BA.5 wave, and seniors are being hit particularly hard.
Obviously, right now, COVID is the thing that is increasing that we need to pay most attention to.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
San Diego South Bay is home to about 450,000 people, but it's not home to a public 4-year university, at least not yet. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer updates us on efforts to bring a university presence to the South County.
Right now, Southwestern College is the South Bay's only public option for higher education. That's where Faisal Al-Najjar is now studying dental hygiene. He already has a bachelor's degree in human biology from UC San Diego, roughly 20 miles north.
There was a lot of people that commuted from South Bay to UCSD. Now imagine telling them they can go to some classes 10 minutes from home instead of having to drive all the way up here.
And that idea is becoming reality, starting with San Diego State University's new TV and film studio coming to Chula Vista. And more university expansions could be on the way. Maria Anguiano is a UC Regent and a National City native.
The South Bay is a very vibrant, dynamic community with a lot of talent, and we want to make sure that UC is at the table.
So the UC is starting to look at sites for a satellite campus in South Bay. The city of Chula Vista has already set aside nearly 400 acres near Otay Ranch Town Center, with plans for a combined university and technology park.
It's been a project that's been ongoing for over 30 years.
John McCann is the new mayor of Chula Vista.
And we're building around it to be able to make sure that the campus has the infrastructure, has the housing to be able to support the university.
While the city has set aside land for a university, Anguiano says the exact location for a South Bay UC expansion isn't set in stone.
Some campuses have a huge room to grow. Others are going to grow in ways of creating satellite campuses, using opportunistic spaces, partnerships with community college campuses.
Wherever a new school goes, Al-Najjar says he hopes the needs of local students are considered.
Some might not have a car, some might not just be able to afford the gas, some might not be able to afford the parking permit.
McCann says having a university will lead to economic and binational growth for Chula Vista.
You talk to almost anybody in the community, they're encouraging a university, and we want to make sure that our kids, our grandchildren, have the opportunity to be able to go to college in Chula Vista.
Assemblyman David Alvarez represents most of the South Bay. He says many South County students end up studying and working outside of the region they grew up in. A university will keep them closer to home.
So we have land. However, what we need now is the investment to actually build.
A South Bay satellite campus can also help the UC system meet its goal of adding up to 33,000 more students by 2030.
We have way too many students that are qualified that can't get in.
Richard Lieb is the chair of the UC Board of Regents. He also lives in San Diego County.
And we want to be able to provide education to those and access to those, because we know that when somebody goes to the University of California, they come out really in a much better position.
The first step is a tour of the proposed sites with UC San Diego Chancellor Pradeep Khosla, who will have to make the proposal for a satellite campus.
I don't know how long it will take to actually have an open, an open area, an open campus, but I do know that the Chancellor has made a commitment to us that it's something that he definitely wants.
Groundbreaking for SDSU's new studio is expected to happen this year. Alvarez helped to secure funding for the project and has big goals for the long-term future.
5, 7, 10 years after you've got several programs running, perhaps this becomes its own institution because there's been growth, there's enough attraction there, and we decide, this should be a new state university of some sort.
UC alum Al-Najjar has one request for universities that come to South County.
It should really be modeled after what I would say Southwestern has offered me, which was the smaller classes, more intimate connection with the professor, like they actually know you.
UC officials plan to do their South Bay site tour in the first quarter of this year. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
And we're learning about another troubling sign of climate change. A new study shows ocean temperatures last year hit their highest levels on record for the 4th straight year. It found that the 5 hottest years for the world's oceans all happened in the past 6 years, and oceans are warming at a faster rate. Oceans are a good indicator of the impact of climate change because they are less affected by seasonal changes and weather cycles than air temperatures. They also absorb most of the world's heat.
We're getting a break in our stormy pattern, but there's more storms coming, probably another one over the weekend and then another early next week to follow. But until then, we're looking at a weak offshore flow, and we'll be a little dry and warmer into Friday. But then over the weekend, well, the next storm arrives with significant amounts of rain and some strong gusty winds. Here's the way the pattern shapes up. Really no big changes here. The West Coast onslaught continues right through next week. And the latest storm moving just to our north into Thursday here. So across Southern California, rather quiet until the weekend. As we take a look at tonight's weather here in the city, we'll drop down to about 47 degrees. Patchy clouds in the San Diego metro. Heading on up to Oceanside, about 41 for low, a cool 42 in Ramona. And a little chilly in Mount Laguna, down about 35 degrees. Here's the way it looks on our future cast. We're dry here, And there you can see the latest storm, the main thrust of moisture lifting north, head up towards the Pacific Northwest. We're looking at a pretty nice day here. On Thursday, we'll have the offshore flow. That will give us some milder weather. We'll be in the low 70s, Escondido to El Cajon. And Borrego Springs is up to 69. Campo is at 61. Looking at the end of the week, that weather starts to change. And by the weekend, Saturday night, the next storm comes in. And that will renew the rain and the wind and the potential for some localized flooding. So let's take a look at that extended forecast for you. Pleasant here through Friday, and then Saturday's cool and wet. Next system comes in right behind that on Monday. As we head inland, low 70s next couple of days, but Saturday cooler and wet. More showers coming on Monday. And then as we take you up to the mountains, we'll be looking at some rain and wind and chilly temperatures. Again, snow levels are high. And as we take you into the desert, showers arrive here on Saturday and unsettled right through Monday. And for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Mark Mancuso.
A church in Del Mar is practicing what it preaches. Over the next 2 weeks, St. Peter's Episcopal Church is transforming one of its on-campus buildings into a temporary shelter. KPBS reporter Claire Strong has the story.
For Charles, the parish hall at St. Peter's is his new home. For now, at least. Charles is one of up to 12 homeless people who are expected to sleep at the church over the next few weeks. And with more rain in the forecast, having a dry, warm place to stay couldn't come soon enough for Charles, who often resorts to sleeping in his car.
Honestly, I think it's a wonderful idea. Something like this where it's secure. Security can't get better than this.
It's all part of the Interfaith Shelter Network rotational program, which involves different religious groups from across San Diego taking turns to host guests who don't have a place to live. Applicants are screened by social services for things like drug and alcohol abuse before being referred to the program.
Can you imagine over the last 2 weeks not having shelter, getting through those storms that we've had or those that are coming later this week? So putting a roof over the heads of our brothers and sisters who are in need, getting to know them as people, not simply statistics, providing warmth and a meal and connection and some humanity.
In addition to being provided with home-cooked meals, hot showers and their own bedrooms, guests are offered help with things like getting a job. They're also expected to work alongside a case manager to find solutions to the issues which contributed to them becoming homeless.
Along with the case management that they also receive, they also get workshops. So we plan out workshops such as budget planning. So we'll have somebody come in, volunteer, and they'll go ahead and teach them about budgeting. And then we also have a career development workshops as well.
The program, which has been running for 35 years now, sees around 50% of its guests go on to find permanent housing. But none of this could be possible without the hard work and dedication of volunteers. They take turns at staying overnight to ensure that everything runs smoothly.
They have come from very bad situations, most of them. And so we simply try and tender them in and make them feel that they are important. We want to make them feel like perhaps they haven't felt before.
It's the first time St. Peter's has hosted the event since COVID. Next up is St. James's Church in Solana Beach. And with more rain on its way, this program couldn't come at a better time. Claire Strong, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, what we know about the computer glitch that disrupted thousands of flights across the U.S. It's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. NPR's Morning Edition has followed up on the FAA's grounding order that set off delays across the country. What does it say about the resiliency of America's aviation system? And San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria is joining KPBS Midday Edition in a follow-up to his State of the City address. Well, something exciting is happening at the Birch Aquarium. For the first time at the aquarium, a female weedy sea dragon successfully transferred over 100 eggs to a male sea dragon. KPBS video journalist Charlotte Radulovich captured the beginning of a promising journey.
discovered one of our male weedy sea dragons had eggs stuck to its tail, which is an amazing discovery for us because it's something that rarely occurs in the aquarium world. Part of the goal with the sea dragon propagation program that we now have in place is to be able to reproduce them successfully here at the aquarium.
I've never seen this species before. I've learned a lot about sea dragons. I've actually never seen one before. They're from Australia, and there's a male in that tank that has babies on his tail.
For us, it's really, really exciting. Fingers crossed that we're going to have a successful hatching of baby weedy sea dragons in the next few weeks.
Very cool. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.